Throughout December 1940 and January 1941, the British had been driving back the Italian forces in North Africa. Confident of a victory, London sent more than half the men it had in North Africa to Greece, where an Italian invasion force was being held back by a determined but poorly equipped Greek army. Control of the Mediterranean supply routes now became even more vital to the British, for their troops in North Africa and Greece. On the 27th of March 1941, the Italian fleet set out to hunt and sink Allied convoys delivering troops and supplies to Greece. Having heard that an Italian fleet was on the prowl, 3 British cruisers, the Ajax, Orion and Gloucester, with the Australian cruiser Perth, were sent to intercept it. At 10 o'clock in the morning of the 28th of March 1941, Anthony Goodhart was on board HMS Ajax.
During the morning, it was a lovely sunny morning, flat, calm, beautiful, and we were just going along quite gently, and all of a sudden there were 3 enormous splashes in amongst the ships. Didn't actually hit anybody, and we thought, how very unkind of an aeroplane to throw bombs at us on this lovely sunny morning. And we looked around in the sky and we couldn't see any aeroplanes, and at that particular moment, one of our lookouts, he was almost speechless. He just pointed and he said, "Ooh, sir!" And we looked to where he was pointing, and what we saw was the next 5 15-inch shells coming through the air, straight at us. And they went overhead with a loud bang, a sort of roar as they went overhead, and popped in the sea behind us. And there on the horizon, standing up like Mount Everest, was an Italian battleship.
The ship Anthony Goodhart could see was the 50,000-ton Vittorio Veneto. The Allied cruisers hadn't been expecting to encounter a battleship, against which they stood very little chance. 2 hours earlier, at 8 a.m., 3 Italian cruisers had opened fire on the Allied ships. The Battle of Cape Matapan had begun.
The Italian gunfire was quite remarkably accurate. The very first salvo at a range of 16 miles was right in amongst us.
The Allied cruisers were confronting an Italian battleship and 3 cruisers, each of which could fire larger shells across a greater distance. The Allies were outgunned and in trouble. But help was on the way. On the previous night, the commander of Britain's Mediterranean fleet, Admiral Cunningham, had left Alexandria on the battleship Warspite. With him were 3 other battleships and the aircraft carrier Formidable. When the Italians saw the outgunned Allied cruisers turn and run, they pursued and were led straight into the British battle fleet.
Cruisers are no match for battleships. So the idea was to try and lead the Italian fleet, battle fleet, onto our own battle fleet.
According to the official report, we were leading the Italians on towards the British force. I think in fact, we were boating for safety.
At noon on the 28th of March 1941, a British air attack was launched from the carrier Formidable.
They sent off torpedo bomber aircraft and spotting aircraft and were able to hit the Vittorio Veneto with a torpedo, slowed her down very considerably. They also hit an Italian cruiser called the Polar, so much so that she was very severely damaged. The Italian ships, the Zara and the Fiume, had been sent back to try and take the Polar in tow and get her back to Italy.
The Italian cruisers Zara and Fiume had to travel at the speed of the slowest ship, the crippled Polar, which was practically immobile. As night fell, the British had two advantages: radar and crews trained and equipped for night fighting. The Italians had neither. Jock Erskine was on board the battleship HMS Valiant, which was using radar to sneak up on the stationary Italian cruisers.
We were at action stations. Everybody at action stations, see. And there was no voices around, there was no signals around. Everything had been done secretly, you know, whispers even, see, in case you were heard. Nobody shouting orders, because it's usually bedlam when you're in action. People screaming the place down, but this was all calm, cool and collected.
The British battle fleet caught up with them. The Valiant had radar and so was able to find out exactly what was going on.
We knew that they were near. That was the message we got. They were near. We couldn't see a thing. It's black.